Welcome back to Owning Authenticity. In today's video, we are owning authenticity from the bed. You see, I've moved my bed up into this corner, and then I have all these nice pillows back here so I can lean back on them. And it is a truly comfortable little nest that I've built for myself here. And I've been here for about 3 days. And that's by no means the longest that I've ever spent kind of hibernating on my bed. Over this past summer, I spent about 3.5 months in my bed every day, all day long. For the most part, I got up and I did some gardening and spraying, and I would go water my plants outside and pull weeds sometimes. But if I wasn't doing something like that, like just little for a few minutes, I was in my bed, and I have come to call this energetically hospitalized because the idea that when our physical body is sick or breaking down or ill in any way, diseased in any way, that we take care of ourselves by resting and bed rest or even hospitalization sometimes to really prioritize the slowing down and the rest of ourselves so we can heal. And when our energy is what's hurting or low, or we have anxiety or depression, or whatever is creeping up, life happens sometimes, and energetically we can take a hit, and then maybe another hit, and then maybe another hit, and then maybe that fourth or fifth hit, you're like, that's really all I could take right now. And that's a great moment for energetically hospitalizing yourself in your bed, putting yourself on bed rest to heal your energy. So this year, I'm reflecting, kind of, this is Thanksgiving Eve, and I'm reflecting going into this Thanksgiving about how grateful I am for the freedom in my life that lets me rest like this, that lets me spend 3.5 months in my bed. I could do that because I don't have a day job. So, I mean, everything I do, I can do on the laptop. And I can do that at my desk in my office or in here in the bed. And for those 3.5 months over the summer and these last 3 days, it's been bed rest for Carly. Dr. Carly gave Carly, patient Carly, a diagnosis of you're tired. You're you're teetering on the edge of going too far, not knowing when enough is enough. And I mean, I've done that many times. I've driven my car straight off the cliff, um, because I don't pay attention to the warning signs, the the little subtle things that are saying, slow down, slow down. And if you don't slow down, eventually your car just like flies right off the end of the cliff. And yeah, I've been there, done that. I've crashed my car at the bottom of the cliff many a time. And what it's taught me is to look out for the smaller, subtler, earlier signs. And like even the 3.5 months over the summer, there wasn't really anything inciting that happened. My grandma did pass away, and that was a lot to process energetically. It was an energetic download of sorts at that time. Um, but for the most part, I just really needed to slow down for a minute and recenter and let the dust settle and get clear on what is it that I really want to do. And that's again where I've come to these last few days is like last week and the last few weeks, like I feel like I've had a lot on the go and I've been doing a lot of things. And there a few days ago, I started to get this sense of I'm spinning out of control. And it just doesn't feel good, obviously. And my old reaction to it was to like try to get control. Let's just, sit down with a planner and let's make a list and let's schedule our time and let's follow through and be consistent. And oh my God, though that's just speeding past the signs that are saying slow down, you're getting close to the cliff. Didn't listen. This time though, I feel like I'm listening. I'm taking the sensation of I feel like I'm spinning out of control and I'm spinning a lot of plates in the air. And instead of doubling down on my effort, I put myself back in hibernation. I moved my bed over to the corner so I could make myself a little nest in the corner of the bed. So that to me is like the next level, spiritual evolution. Everybody's trying to be all spiritual and whatnot. I think this is what it really looks like, is like a willingness to evolve and behave differently than you did before. And before, I was really hard on myself. And when I got tired and I started letting things slip, I just beat up on myself and kept going. And eventually, you fall off the cliff, and when you crash at the bottom, there's no pulling the pieces back together. It's starting from scratch at that point. You've let things fall, and they're broken now. It's damaged. And that damage can't be undone. You can only build your way back. And I've done it so many times that I feel like this might be one of the first times where I'm seeing myself passing those early signs that are saying slow down. And here I am, tucked into my bed for like the third day in a row. And it feels really nice. I got to go somewhere tomorrow for Thanksgiving, but otherwise, I'm going to just stay in the bed until I feel like I want to get out. Like there 3.5 months over the summer, like eventually I wanted to go other places. I wanted to do other things. I wanted to go to my office. Let's, a few steps around the corner out through the bedroom door. Um, my in-home office. Sometimes I'm so awkward. Like, oh my God. Um, yeah, eventually I just didn't want to be in my bed anymore. And so right now, I want to be in my bed. So I'm going to. And I tell this whole story because normalizing rest is one of the things that feels really central to my entire philosophy on life and what I am preaching, for lack of a better word, on this channel is to find our own center and live being led by our soul. So, in order to do that, we have to slow down, we have to rest, we have to let the noise of the world fall away, at least for a little while, so you can get back in touch with your center and move from your center out into the world. When we move from our center, I've done it enough that I know it doesn't feel anything like spinning out of control. You could be balancing 20 different plates, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels like every little thread is just woven together so perfectly, all in its own time, all with very little effort to it. It all just kind of folds together. And I know again from my experience of when it feels like it's spinning out of control, typically that's me getting in my own head, trying to figure it out and like chart out the moves. And that's where the stress comes from, is my mind gets involved. And, sometimes my mind is cool and it can do a lot of cool things. And sometimes it's just like, it's not your turn. Shh. Like you got to just power it down because you're not helping right now. You're causing anxiety. So releasing thought is the best thing we can do at that point. And, like when I feel like I'm spinning out of control, the best thing I can do is to like go ahead and set the plates down on purpose and take a break from spinning anything and be in the bed. And, when I'm ready, pick the plates back up and begin spinning the ones that I'm called back to. Every single time I do one of these hibernation rest cycles, I don't go back to everything I put down. And that was the point. That was like the I feel out of control because I'm doing all these things, and it's because I let some misaligned things get into the pile. And those misaligned things are throwing off the balance of my whole energy. And as I set down everything and go on rest for however long and then come back, it's like you don't just come back all at once. You just don't take for granted that, this is all my stuff and I'm back and I'm going to pick it all back up. It was like I was inspired to make a podcast episode. So I did. And then I was inspired to make a YouTube video. So I did. And like one of the biggest differences was, and I'm talking about like back over the summer, like I was doing a lot of live events and coaching sessions. I was pushing my one-on-one coaching, meaning advertising it, and then also hosting a lot of free group sessions and even some small fee group sessions. And I haven't really gone back to that. I I feel like most of what I've done with the rest of this year has been to create inside my own little energy bubble, sitting in my bed with my laptop and my dog snoring behind the computer. You could probably hear it, I don't know. Um, and to take a step back from people in general this whole year, especially when I go on energetic hospitalization, where I just recognize that my energy levels are so low that, I mean, until I regenerate, until I rebuild, I don't really have much to give to another person. And at that point, taking up their physical time, like, that's just not really fair. Like, I don't have anything to give. So I got nothing for you. So I just schedule less face to face time with people and take advantage of centering within myself and finding my way into my creative flow and practicing finding my way into my creative flow so that I can get there and do it more and more and more easily, which is definitely what's happening. So these rest periods, these rest cycles are so divine. They're so I personally see them as a protection of sorts to keep me away from things that aren't meant for me. That, if I was trying to spin the plates, if I was trying to still push the things that I had been trying to push, all I would get out in the world is resistance and disappointment. And I mean, it would be so difficult to try to push these things that aren't feeling aligned for me. So really the best thing that we can do is to like put them down and go rest instead until you have a better idea that does feel aligned. And that's what I'm doing. I've done a little bit of creating from my bed. It's actually incredible how much I can accomplish while never actually getting out of bed. Um, but I've also taken a nap, a long one, like every day, and go to bed super, super duper early, go to sleep. And I mean, I get up really early, but so lots of downtime, lots of just being in the quiet and doing a little bit of light stretching and being in the bed, just resting, letting the energy be slow, letting it be quiet, so that when the inspiration strikes for something that feels aligned, like I'm moving to go do it before I even have a chance to think about anything to do with it, I'm already going because it just feels the inspiration just moves you like that. Like, wait for those ideas and then follow them. And I I really one of my best assets that I've ever built for myself is this rest cycle, is this ability to recognize the early signs of low energy and to put myself into a small hibernation, however long I need. And what I'm also piecing together is the sooner I recognize the signs of low energy, the sooner I course correct and regenerate, the faster that is. No big deal. Easy, quick pit stop, little bit of day or two of rest, and you're back on the road. If you wait and you crash your car off the cliff, that sucker's totaled and you got to start all the way over. Very, very big rebuilding effort going on there. So, learning to avoid crashing my car off the cliff, like it is one of my best life skills that I have ever acquired. And I'm so happy to share it with you in this video. So, thank you for joining me here in my energy bubble, in my bed slash nest. And thank you for listening. Until next time, I hope there's a little bit of rest getting carved out for you too. Either way, you take good care of yourself, and so will I.